I had to come back to talk about Stephen Hawking. You know, ladies and gentlemen, there have been those figures in my life that have captivated my subconscious. I have always thought to myself, what an adventure this man has had traveling the cosmos from his wheelchair. As most of you know, this physicist did some amazing things in his 76 years on the planet. But the biggest was exploring things away from our planet. Those black holes, and yes, space, the final frontier. He was born in Oxford, England in 1942, 300 years to the day Galileo died, who had begun the study of gravity. And that's one thing, that significant date, his birthday in Galileo, the connection, was something Mr. Hawking was very proud of. He was the oldest of four. He studied after what he described was a mediocre early education at Oxford, mathematics and physics, and eventually would go on to Cambridge. On his 21st birthday, 1963, he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. And you hear me talk about that quite a bit because of Suzanne Alexander, our good friend and Live Like Lou, and her husband, Neil Alexander, who passed away from that disease years ago. I have a special place in my heart for this disease for a number of reasons, but this gentleman always gave me inspiration. And through the years, somehow, some way, when I felt as though I had to pick myself up and get back into the human race of life, somehow, some way, whether it was National Geographic, a publication, or even a stint on The Simpsons, he always seemed to be a part of my life. And because of space and his study of the universe, I have a feeling that he will be with us for eternity. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this man moved mountains, even though for most of his life he was never able to move anywhere unless he was in his wheelchair. He married Jane Wilde, a linguistics, who finally made him realize that he had to get a job and he had to get motivated because he had a family, and motivated he was. He did many things, including the brief history of time. Dr. Hawkins concluded if we do discover a complete theory of the universe, it should be in time understandable in broad principles by everyone, not just scientists. He could actually get himself out of bed until around 1974 with the help of his nurses, and he had his speech until about 1985. But even in the end, when nothing more than being able to control his speech through computers and being a prisoner to that wheelchair, he lived life to its fullest. He traveled every continent, including Antarctica. He went wherever science would take him. And in a statement that was released from his children, Robert, Lucy, and Tim, they said, quote, "We are deeply saddened that our beloved father passed away today. He was a great scientist and an extraordinary man whose work and legacy will live on for many years. His courage and persistence with his brilliance and humor inspired people across the world. He once said, 'It would not be much of a universe if it wasn't home to the people you love.' We will miss him forever." Among his many honors, Dr. Hawkins was named a commander of the British Empire in 1982. In the summer of 2012, he had a star role in the opening of the Paralympics Games in London. The only thing lacking was a Nobel Prize, and his explanation for this was characteristically pithy. The Nobel is given only for theoretical work that has been confirmed by observation. It is very, very difficult to observe the things I have worked on. Dr. Hawkins was a strong advocate of space exploration, saying it was essential to the long-term survival of the human race. Mr. Hawkins, thank you for inspiring the world and your Pratt Pack. Good afternoon.